By 2 p.m. Thursday, the Africa Kwetu trekkers, led by President Museveni, had completed the final leg of the 6-day trial. Bireembo in Kakumiro district was the last pit stop of the 195-kilometer walk done in the honor of Uganda's liberation heroes. It all started in Garamba, Wakiso district on the 4th of January 2020, which was a Saturday, and President Museveni's arrival at Bireembo on a sweltering Thursday, 9th January 2020 early afternoon made for a fitting finale as he was cheered on all the way to his tent. He then took his seat for a breather after leading trekkers through a 14-kilometer stretch from Kasambia headquarters of the sub-county in Kakumiro, which was the penultimate pit stop. Before setting off from Kasambia, President Museveni congratulated the trekkers for having made it thus far and explained that they had to combine walking with mobilization, a modification that helped him to interact with veterans and the elderly in the mapped-out areas.
Just walking, we cannot walk and pass by the people and we say that we are walking. So we are only walking symbolically in some few sections. Like we walked from Garamba to Jomba.
In total, the group had physically walked 76 kilometers of the 195 kilometers journey, retracing part of the trial that the Bush War heroes footslogged, leading to Museveni's ascension to power. Along the Kasambia-Bireembo route, large crowds of supporters ignited their enthusiasm with songs and dances in several trading centers to cheer on the trekkers. They were eager to interact with Museveni, who, from the first day of the walk, made stopovers to greet the Wananchi. Significance of Bireembo to the president, the trek was jam-packed with nostalgic memories of how they traversed the route to Bireembo at a time when there were limited footpaths or even visible roads as the situation is today. Commenting about the significance of Bireembo, Museveni said, I quote, "By difficult marches, day and night, we went through Bukuya, Butorogo, Krestoima, Kakumiro Road at Nkondo and camped at Kasambia on the afternoon of 8th January in 1985. End of quote. When the trekkers arrived at Kasambia on Wednesday afternoon, there was a general sense of relief as well as belief that the final leg was nigh. And the pit stop was significant to the Bush War liberators. There, Kasambia, through the usual radio communication, we agreed with Salim Saleh, General Kale Bakandwanaho, to link up at Bireembo, only 8 miles from Kasambia sub-county headquarters, Museveni said. The link-up was effected on the 9th of January 1985. The Kabamba operation, or battle, had been almost as successful as the Masindi one. He revealed that upon completion of the Kabamba battle, 650 rifles, mortars, machine guns, ammunition, and other items had been captured. He added it was another victory for the National Resistance Army NRA.
So, what I remember is that we arrived at Nkondo, that junction of yesterday, at 9 o'clock in the morning of the 8th. And then we stopped the vehicles and we crossed and arrived here on the afternoon of the 8th. And then from here, that's how the following day, 9th, we walked to Bireembo, where we are walking today.
Yesterday, exactly 35 years ago, Museveni moved through Kasambia to Bireembo to meet Salim Saleh to pick weapons that the commander of the mobile brigade then had captured after attacking Kabamba. Realizing that the two most wanted NRA combatants, Museveni and Saleh, had camped at Bireembo, the Uganda National Liberation Army UNLA forces, led by Colonel John Ogole and Lieutenant Colonel Eric Odwar, attacked the area, using all weapons at their disposal, including Katyusha rockets and 120mm mortars. This was the toughest battle that the NRA forces faced in the entire operation. While Museveni and Saleh survived, they lost 5 fighters. Discipline and fitness is the other virtue that Museveni implored the youth to observe, especially if they are to fight for Africa and its sovereignty amidst emerging external challenges. Museveni said, emphasizing the need to stay disciplined and fit, "For me, I am ready to fight even today if you cause problems." He said, "I appeal for perseverance and I want to encourage the culture of physical fitness. Walking is good for your health because when you sit in office, you die slowly." The president called upon children of veterans and fallen soldiers to organize themselves so that he can support them to start a health tourism on the key hills that shaped the NRA liberation.
Children of the soldiers that we are going to start a health tourism company there. A health tourism company. I told my daughters long ago to do it, but they refused.
The hills include Kanzirakatera in Kagogo, Bukomera in Chiboga district, and Butorogo in Mubende district. "I want to congratulate the pilgrims," he said, urging the youth, whom he fondly calls Bazzukulu, Bushwa veterans, politicians, and patriotic Ugandans, to retrace the route that they foot-slogged back in the 1980s. Every day, the trekkers have listened in on lectures by war veterans unfurling stories of their time in the bush. Speaker after speaker has been recounting their experiences of the liberation struggle that saw Museveni take power in 1986. One such veteran is Olive Zizinga, a senior presidential advisor and former National Resistance Council NRC legislator who gave an account of how unrestrained the war was. Zizinga, who turned 84 in April last year, said her resolve to join NRA fighters was ignited by her act of courage to mobilize Gombe youth to stone government soldiers that had raided the area to loot shops and other related facilities. She told the youth, "Whatever you have, use it and fight for your country." Zizinga narrated how they hid behind one of the shops that government soldiers had started to loot and threw stones onto the roof, scaring off the soldiers who believed they were under rebel attack. Zizinga recalled that they thought it was a bomb. When Museveni heard that a woman in Gombe had chased government soldiers with stones, he sent his people to pick me. "The rebels found me at home and took me direct to Mondlane camp in Luwere district." She recounted, "Upon arrival at the unit, Museveni appointed me senior officer and member of the NRA delegation set up to meet Dr. Andrew Kayira of the Uganda Freedom Movement." Zizinga went on to talk about her experience in the bush filled with life-threatening challenges. Once, she said, she almost lost her life when Museveni got infected with amoeba, a bacterial infection that attacks the liver. When Dr. Kiza Besige was called in as one of the doctors treating members of the High Command, he suspected that Museveni had been poisoned. She said Museveni's auntie used to say Gertrude Njuba, Proscovia Nalweso, and I were witch doctors, and that we had bewitched the commander-in-chief. Zizinga said it was Dr. Ronald Bata who saved them from the guillotine when he ruled out poison and gave a prescription for amoeba bacterial infection until Museveni recuperated. Zizinga narrated that another time Njuba and her were fed up with bush time and wanted to die. "We cried, and at one time we escaped from the camp with a view of running into the enemy ambush so that we could die. But Jovia Saleh brought us back to the camp. Upon returning, some NRA combatants wanted us to be killed, saying our endless sobbing would bring bad luck to the war mission, but Museveni pardoned us." Zizinga's testimony re-energized the walkers to take on the final leg of the symbolic trek, and upon arrival, it was relief and jubilation as they were treated to an evening of bull roasting and entertainment in commemoration of the Bireembo battle.